You're now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is Tottenham on tour. It is time for Straight Outta Conte. It's been a while. We've been off for a bit for some various reasons, but we're happy to be back. Happy to be talking about Conte. Looking forward to this chat, right? How are you, man?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm getting there. It's been a stressful time, as we've been saying. But all is good, and we get to dive into a show that we thoroughly enjoy doing.
Absolutely.
And we were just looking at when we were going to be creating the thumbnail. And obviously, the last one we did was Wolves, which shows how long it's been. So very, very happy to be back doing this. The great one has spoken, as I like to say. So we're going to dive into it. But as I said, seeing that we can't decide who's going to go first, let's have a bit of fun with this.
Time for a game.
Paper, rock, scissors to see.
Now we have to determine, is it 1, 2, 3, go?
It's paper, rock, scissors, shoot.
Paper, rock, scissors, shoot. Okay. I'm down to that.
So you ready?
Yep.
Paper, rock, scissors, shoot. Okay, you've won. So who's going first?
You're going to go first.
I'll go first. Okay, So there we go. First question from Antonio Conte is it the same squad for this weekend? Yeah, the same. Only Lucas is not available. The other players are all available for the Leicester game. Well, that was a short and sweet.
Short and sweet answer. Not much to say about it. I think that's kind of the standard. What's the squad's situation with injuries, and we got the answer we'd expect. Nothing really in that. Thankfully, nice and quick.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more I can add to it. Just it makes a refreshing change just to have one injury.
I know, right? That is nice. Next question is: Eric Dyer has been recalled to the England squad. How proud are you of him? And tell us about Dyer under your management. Conte responds with, first of all, I'm really pleased because when my players are called up to the national teams, we were really proud because it means we were working very well and we were trying to help the players to go with national teams. In this case, for Eric, it was really good achievement for him. But what I can only tell him is that that this has to be a point of start. It has been gained the possibility to go to the World Cup, especially in this month and a half that we have before the World Cup, to continue to play well, to have a good performance, to show he has really good stability, that he is a really reliable player. And what I can tell him is only this: continue on this way, to continue work hard and have this concentration for the rest. I think my staff and I and my teammates are very happy for this call up to the national team. Long answer, long-winded a little bit. What are your thoughts, Brad?
So first of all, I mean, it's questions like this that do my head in. When they say to Antonio Conte, Eric Dyer's in the England squad, are you proud of him?
Of course he's proud.
What's he going to say? No, it's an absolute disgrace. Yeah. I can't stand it. I think Southgate's gone crazy.
He's a mug. He doesn't deserve to be there.
As I said earlier, it's always great to see English or players getting called up into international
Spurs players.
Exactly, especially with Spurs for England, especially for myself for obvious reasons. Yeah. Does he deserve to be back in the England squad? Yes, he does.
I think so.
Because of what the English do. But do you know what? For me, it's just as much as he's performed well. People like Maguire and Tyrone Mings have performed exceptionally bad. So
yeah, it's helped him a little bit.
Whereas Eric Dyer has on his own merit got in. Yeah, it's the players have helped him as well with their lack of form. But like I said, it's always good to see another Tottenham player in the England squad. Has he deserved it? Yes, with the English defenders and like Antonio Conte has said, this is just the building platform. This is just the start. You need to now. It's like they say when you're going for a league. Winning the league is hard, but try to retain it and having that target
shows your quality when you're able to do that.
So now he's got into the England squad, is keeping it at least until the World Cup, and then so on and so on. So it's a positive day for Eric Dyer. Very, very happy for him, and long may it continue. What about you?
For me, I mean, obviously, I'm proud of Dyer as well, and I think he's done well and he's played well. But on what Conte is saying here particularly, and I think that's something that's interesting, is just talking about his stability and being reliable. Of course, he has been that for Conte, right? And I think Conte recognizes that He's not perfect, but he has been reliable. He's stayed fit. And I think that there's a little bit of a message in that from him to make sure you stay fit, man, because we need you after the World Cup's over. So I think there's a little small kind of hint that be strong, stay stable, play well, but don't get injured because we need you, which is obviously massive for Spurs because we didn't sort that position out right in the window. So if he does get injured, then who plays in that center? So. Dyer, we're happy for you, but please don't get injured.
Exactly. Now on to a question. Well, like I said, Brian Allen and I are doing it blind again. We love doing this blind. Haven't seen it, watched it. So this is all real emotion and real answers because we haven't had time to script them or anything, which works out better, we think.
Yeah,
so it's going to be a good answer. On Tuesday, did the players know how disappointed you were? But also, do people have to remember a year ago you were in the Conference League and now the Champions League? Conte said, I think we need to be disappointed, but I'm into the people to be disappointed with the players because the final result was a negative result for us, especially as I watched the game and I think that we lost a big chance, not only to draw, but to get 3 points. And in this type of situation, you have to be a bit upset because normally when you have the possibility to get 3 points, you have to do it. Then we are talking about a loss in the last 2 minutes. For this reason, we have to be upset. Me, the players, the club. But no, in football, it's a good experience. Don't forget that in Europe, in all away games last season, we lost against Pacos de Ferreira, against Vitesse, against Mura. Jesus, what a bad line. So and then we drew with Rennes. But we deserved also to lose in Rennes. It means that maybe we have to do something more in the future, especially as we are in the Champions League. Before we were in the Conference League, I think we did an important step forward. But now we have to show that we deserve to stay there. You know very well that we have to try in every game to get a win. This has to be our reality and for this reason, you have to understand that when we lose, we are totally in the opposite side. And for this reason, when we have to be a bit angry and have to try to get a good reaction because now we have the possibility to play another game in the Premier League. And for us, it's important to get a win. But at the same time, Jesus, there's a lot of these, but at the same time, you know you're playing against Leicester. The table at the moment is not faithful to them because we are talking about a really good team and a really good squad. We are talking about Brendan Rodgers, who is a really good manager, who won a lot in his career. And for this reason, we have to pay great attention. Well, I had a very short answer to begin with.
Yeah,
I think I've just had the longest answer.
Yeah, that was
Conte history.
It's a bit long-winded from Conte. Yeah, I mean, there's so much in that. I mean, he's obviously pointing out to the things that we know there needs to be a response massively from the squad. Very unhappy. Didn't really answer the question when it came to you were in sort of mulled about with like the results that we had in the Conference League last season. But it's there's again it's Conte just again I think reminding the players of the situation that they're in. This is the first loss they've experienced in a long time. Response is a must. They must respond. They must respond with a really good performance against a difficult team. And yes, it's Leicester. Yes, they've lost 5 in a row. They're in poor form and they're in a bad situation at their club at the moment. But don't take them lightly. That's the mentality that needs to change. And he's pointing it out and saying, "Hey, this is the situation that we're in. And if you don't fix it now, then maybe this isn't the team that's going to be able to fix it."
Yeah, I mean, for what I get from this is a very long-winded question where he's rambled about the same thing in different ways of saying it. Yeah. But it's basically code for "I'm fucking furious." Yeah. I'm furious. You better fix it. And from what I heard, they all stayed at the Spurs Lodge when they got back from Portugal, and they were meant to report at either 11 or 1 p.m. for training. And he called up and said, "No, early hour earlier than usual." A couple of hours earlier, apparently. It was like, get up, get on the pitch. He's not happy. And like he said, he's got to, in these, be the neutral. He does, yeah. He's got to remain and he can't go in calm. And go, rah, rah, especially in front of the press, because then it all blows up. He's doing that in the dressing room, you know that for a fact. For sure he's doing that. This is the question where he does like saying things over and over again, but saying the same things but with different words.
He's just trying to get a very specific message across, and he has to say it a bunch of times.
Yeah, but he's saying it in different way.
So.
Yeah, he repeats it. You think he's going on to tell you more stuff, but he's actually just reworded exactly what he's saying. It's a very, very long-winded answer to say I'm absolutely furious. And then we'll move on to the part with Leicester, where obviously, I think their position is false. We know Leicester are a very, very good team.
Yeah, there's some good players in that squad.
Let's face it, Brendan Rodgers will be gone before the end of the month, in my opinion.
I think after this game, if we beat them.
If we win, he's gone after this game. But even if he gets a result or a draw, I can see him going by the end of the month. Like, next defeat, you're out by. And they are a good team. We know about that. And what I do like what he's saying is normally some players, not just Spurs players, any other players say, we've had a bad defeat. We've got the team bottom of the league. They're wounded.
Yeah,
we can just relax and go in, and he's making sure they don't get complacent and going thinking we're Johnny Big Potatoes and we can just stroll around White Hart Lane like it's so I like what he's saying.
You better
there.
Show up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a must. We must show up.
For sure. Next question is, are you wary of a backlash from Leicester? So this is sort of to what we're talking about. When you play against Leicester, I think in England they became a good team, a difficult team to play. Don't forget that they won the Premier League with Claudio Ranieri. They won an FA Cup maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. They won the Community Shield against Manchester City. We're talking about a club that in the last 7 years they've won. They won something in England, and it means that we're talking about a really good club, a really good squad, and a good manager with great ambition. That's it.
God, you're getting some nice short.
I know, I'm loving it.
So yeah, what can we say about this? What you said about Leicester, obviously, they've won more in the last 7 years than we've won in the last 22.
Yeah, he's blatantly pointing that out.
Completely. He's pointing that out, and Leicester are dangerous. Don't get me wrong, Leicester, they're a wounded animal. Jamie Vardy, who normally does well against us, could just go, right, it's Tottenham, bang.
Yeah.
You take them at their peril. And he's right that this is the English Premier League and the bottom team can beat the top team and vice versa. Leicester are a team to be concerned about. I think we'll get the result, but I like what you're saying here.
Yeah, I agree. The same thing. I mean, it's to go to the previous question as well, is just make sure you respond to that result against Sporting, and don't be complacent. Don't be complacent against the Leicester side, who've done all these things and who are still very good, and a lot of the same players and the same manager. And you can't be complacent, or it's going to backfire. Yeah. Next question. Did I do that one?
Yeah, you did that one. So now it's for me. So it's can Dyer play in the back four? I'll answer this for you. No. I think we are talking about a player who has a lot of versatility. He is a player that can play in a creative. He is a player that can play in the centre when you defend with 3 at the back. He can play as a central defender with 4 at the back, but at the same time, he can play a pivot as a number 4. You can see that during the game, also especially when we are going to build up, and we use him, and he becomes a midfielder. I've got the long-winded ones again.
You do, yeah.
We are talking about a really good player that, in my opinion, has grown a lot physically, mentally, in his mind, and mentally in his mind, well, obviously. And you can now see he's an important player. But as you know very well, football changes the situation quickly. And he has to continue in this way with humility, to be humble, to continue to work very hard, to continue to have the right ambition, the right desire to be an important player. It's happening like this for me, for sure. I will push him always, but not only him. I try to push every single player to give more and more. So your thoughts on Dyer in the back four?
Yeah,
Conte's thoughts.
I think Conte. He's bigging up his player. I do think Dyer has become a better player under Conte, and I think you could argue that most of the team have improved, minus last week's performance. But I think Dyer in particular he's key to the way we play, and we've seen when he's been out, we lose an anchor and communication that happens at the back. I'm not saying he's perfect. I recognize that there's we could upgrade probably on him, and I think Conte knows what he has and knows that he can trust him to do the job he wants him to do, and that's why he likes him so much.
Yep.
And Conte is a trust manager. I'm going to give you instructions. I'm going to trust that you're going to follow them. And Dyer has done that for him. So he's speaking very highly of him because of that. And I think obviously he points out that I do that with all the players, but this was a question about Dyer, and I think he answered it well. And I think it's true. I mean, again, like I said, I think Dyer could be improved upon, but he's had good time under Conte.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Conte said about how he can play in a back three, how he can be in the midfield, which when we did a video about,
part that's a bit.
Yeah, he can't. We've seen it. He can't. He may be improving, but to me, he can't. But listen, again, this is a very bit of bad journalism for me. The reason I say bit of bad journalism is Antonio Conte does not play with back four.
Yeah,
he does
exactly.
Not
like,
do it.
Why are you even asking?
England at the moment are playing with a back three.
Yep.
So there is no.
It's an irrelevant question.
It's a question because I don't see us, especially under Conte, going to a back four at any point soon.
Yep.
I don't see England doing it, but it's a question to check out. What I do agree, like I said, my favourite Eric Dyer was that season he played defensive midfielder. Under Poch, I really thought he did a good job.
I think he was
there.
Great in that position.
I really
in the
do.
system,
so,
it worked really well.
Yeah,
right? And
so
that's
the
key
thing.
is the system.
And Eric Dyer at the centre of a three, like Conte said at the beginning, works, and it is working.
And he can push forward and he can distribute.
Exactly. Whether you think he could be improved on, which I do, his best position for Tottenham at the moment is in the back, in the centre of a three.
Yeah.
And
the one he's playing.
Exactly, the one I agree with. But the back four part, I just don't see it, and I don't want to see it.
Yeah, me neither. And I can't see it. I can't see Conte switching to a four unless it's in game and it's necessary for tactical reason. Next question is, and this is a spicy one, buddy. You ready?
Oh boy.
You once said Son is undroppable. Is he still undroppable? There are no players that are undroppable. This has to be very clear. There are no players that are undroppable, because if I tell this, it's only to try to help my players and try to avoid injuries, to try to have players at the top of their form and to have a great performance. If I'm telling this, it is only to protect my players, to give them the possibility to be in every moment at the top. Then you know very well you can play one game well, another you can score, another not. But my task is to try to protect players and to protect the team, also to find the right way to have the result. Don't forget, sometimes when you don't start with certain players, it means during the game you have this player with this possibility to use him during the game. But I repeat, if we want to play this in four competitions, and especially I repeat the Champions League, because it is different to play Europa League or Conference League. Europa League and Conference League can give you the possibility in the group stages to make rotations, and then also if you drop a bit the quality of the starting 11, maybe you can win the game. In the Champions League, there are always massive games, and for this reason, I need to have all my players available. I need all my players available for rotation, to be in every moment, ready when I call them to play, and to play for the team, for the club, for the fans, for everybody.
So,
Doug, you go first. I mean, there's so much in that.
There is. I mean, I'm getting a bit dubious now with this rotation talk, and people are droppable because it's apart from the Fulham game where he brought in Longley and he brought in Asensio went back in for Perisic. Richarlison started. That was the big game with the big variations. But everywhere else, it just hasn't been. It hasn't been, and
it's in the positions that we know we need to see. Yeah, right. That's the part that I'm struggling with. And
you say that it needs to keep people fit. It needs to keep people fresh. Well, excuse me, Son needs a rest.
Yeah.
He's not looking refreshed. He's not looking.
I agree.
He's not looking. So this for the first time, I think, under Conte's reign, I'm hearing him say one thing and do the other. And I'm not saying that's something to be concerned about. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
It's noteworthy.
It's just it could be, like I said, with the Fulham game, when we made these changes right at the end, Fulham could have been preparing for Son, Kulusevski, and Kane. And then when they saw Richarlison instead of Kulusevski, it changes the opponent's way they've been training and building up for the team all week. So I get that there's the art of not letting too much out so the opponent teams don't know. But I'm feeling that I would like to see some change. I'm feeling that Son does need a rest, and hopefully, with what Conte's saying here, players are rested. I need to keep them fit. I need to keep them ready, especially for the big games. Well, Saturday, Leicester isn't a big game. They're all big games. But, it's not a North London derby. It's not Manchester City or Liverpool.
It's a regular Prem game. It's
exactly
particularly specific.
And I think we do need to see, just before the international break, because the next game in the league is the filth. I want to see some changes. Let's see if he does what he says or he does the opposite. Yeah,
I agree. And it's so much when a player's not. No player's undroppable, but the one player that needs to be dropped isn't getting dropped. It's very confusing. Like that's where I'm at. I'm confused about it. I don't understand understand the reasoning or the logic in there, and it's frustrating. And of course, he's right in that you do have to have your best team for the biggest games like the Champions League games, but you should have in the squad that we have enough players to rotate when you need to in game. Even if it's a scenario where we're losing in the midfield or right side isn't good enough, and you've got two players on the bench to play that position, rotate them in that scenario. Give the guy a rest who looks dead tired, and he's not doing that. So it's a frustrating situation.
And here we go. So you've rotated Sessegnon and Perisic, but not Emerson.
Funny that this is the next question. I didn't even read it. So.
Are you still concerned by Matt Doherty's fitness? I can explain this because I like to be honest, not only with you, but first of all, my players. In the first part of the 7-8 games, don't forget we had players like Matthew that had serious injury, and I said in the past that he is struggling a bit to come back the player I knew last season. For sure now he is improving a lot, and I'm sure now that there is the international break, he will have the possibility to have 2 games with the national team, and then he'll come back, and for sure I will have the possibility to have another rotation with him. It was the same with Skippy, because in this period, Skippy was injured with a serious injury. Don't forget, Skippy played his last game in January, maybe December. Another player we have to recover from injury. Then there are players like Richarlison who went into the team as quickly. Longley was at the same time as Perisic. The only player that is struggling a bit with the tactical aspect is Basuma.
Wow.
But also he is improving a lot in every aspect. I am sure when we start and play 12 games, for sure he is another player I can count on. But I try to take the best decision for the player because I want to protect the player. At the same time, I want to protect the team and everybody. For sure, we know very well when we start again to play 12 games in 1 moment. When we start again to play 12 games in 1 month, you have to be ready. You have to be ready because I need all my players.
Whew. I mean, there's a lot in that as well. I mean, he's obviously talking about rotation. You know, we were talking about this on the stream earlier in regards to his being sort of stubborn or fearful of what's happening with the amount of games that we have to play before the World Cup and trusting that he can get points. I think that that's a big part of what we're seeing here. We talked about Basuma as well. Basuma isn't tactically ready. He doesn't want to risk giving up points. Like, it's so important to get enough points to finish as high as we possibly can. And he's going to go with these players that he trusts no matter what, even if we think, come on, let's see somebody else because we think it can be going to be a change. I think he's in that mindset, and they've made a decision of how they're going to manage getting to the World Cup and being at as many points as possible in the Premier League in particular. Of course, we want to win our group in the Champions League as well, but the Premier League maintaining a level that is in that top 4. So when we get past that World Cup, we can then strive forward. I think that's a lot of what he's talking about here, is just making sure that the players are fit and ready.
So I do understand a part of that. I do understand what you're saying, but I think when it comes to Emerson now, he could be doing more damage than good. He could be doing more damage than good, and it may be worth. But the most fascinating thing for me in that whole answer, and it just goes to show, he mentioned every single player apart from Jed Spence.
Yeah,
it was like the question was asked to him about Doherty, and he said about Doherty's injury and how he's coming back from a long injury, and it could take time in international break.
It wasn't like we also have another player you could put in.
He did not mention him. He went on to mention all the other players: Longley, Perisic, Basuma.
Do you think he's not going to play Spence just out of bitterness because he didn't pick the player?
I don't know what's happening here, but that's like, let's just say the senses are tingling again. That just goes to show another a thing there. But with Emerson, it's looking now. Do you say? I mean, obviously, we've only got 1 more game to the international break, so it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But he cannot be allowed to keep putting in performances like this and just say, well, you're playing because I can't take... I would rather take a risk with Doherty right now and just see what he can do, because at least he brings balance to the squad.
Yep,
absolutely. At least he brings balance to the squad.
Yep.
And that right wing back role gets filled a bit. So yeah, that's the issue I have with this. But like you said, I think you're right in the part that he's saying, right, this is what I need to do to get through to the World Cup and points on the board.
Yep.
And then after World Cup, I can go a bit hell for leather. But we should have to wait and see.
Yeah, for sure. Next question was Emerson is not naturally an attacking wingback. Again, we're back with this. Like those you've worked with in the past, have you been working with him to improve the attacking side of his game? In my opinion, Emerson, he had a good start in the season, and he can play in this position, is doing well. In the last game in Sporting Lisbon, he can score 3 goals, not 1. He can score 3. In every game, he is totally involved. And don't forget, Emerson played every game this period. For sure, now he can be a bit tired because the wingback, you can get fatigued because you can become a striker when you're going to attack. And you have to become a defender when you have to defend. But I'm really happy about Emerson's performance because you have to think, compared to last season, he's making a good improvement. He has to continue to work to do it. And at the same time, you know that we also have Ivan Perisic, who can play on the right or left, and Sessegnon. He's fit and he's in a good moment of form. For sure, maybe he's one of the players that in this moment deserves to play, like Decky, but we'll do it at the right time and the right patience to try to do the best for our team. Thoughts?
So he's done it again. He's even mentioned playing Perisic on the right.
I know, and still hasn't said anything about Spence.
That's
right?
2 questions in a row where Jed Spence's name could be dropped. Not saying, but he's not even being accounted for as.
Yeah,
oh, and
like
we
it doesn't
have
exist.
Yeah, and we have Jed Spence. I find some of this very, very puzzling.
Yeah, it's strange.
The fact that he's going on about Emerson playing every single game and he might be a bit tired, and we're sort of saying exactly the same thing about him in Son.
Yeah,
and you can't say, oh, by the way, I love Sonny. And if you've watched me in my last streams, you know what I'm talking about. This is a strange one. And even when you're saying he had 3 opportunities. Yeah, he had 3 opportunities.
He did put away one of them.
One of the headers went to the floor.
Yeah.
The volley.
Volley was okay.
Volley was okay, but these chances are falling to him. And I think about Doherty, as we saw, was getting in the goals.
Mm-hmm.
It's a concern. Listen, Conte knows a hell of a lot better than me, than all of us. It's just puzzling how this answer can work for him, but it can't work for others.
Yeah, it's a strange one.
And the most glaring, the most obvious thing again is not a single word about Jed Spence.
Yeah,
your thoughts?
Don't get it. Yeah, I mean it's the same. I don't think I could put it any better. Seems odd to me. Emerson is certainly better than he was last season. I can accept that. He's still not good enough.
Yep.
And I just think going forward, the wingback position is the most important in a system where you rely heavily on that without a creative midfielder. That player needs to either be creating by crossing the ball in or scoring goals.
Yep.
And he's doing neither of those things well. Neither. So
yep.
That for me is puzzling. I love Conte, absolutely love the guy, but I think there's something odd about the Spence part not being included and being even spoken about in these conversations, and it is worrying. I find that very strange.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next one, which is you mentioned that Basuma has struggled with the tactical aspect. Has that surprised you for a player who is more expensive than some of your other signings? If you compare other midfielders, I have seen that other teams have spent 60, 70, 50 millions. It depends on the view. I think that we spent the right money. Don't forget that we spent a lot of money on players that have now gone out on loan. It doesn't matter if you spend money, you need to have the players to go into our idea of football. There are players that do this. I've got a feeling someone's been left out again.
Yeah, of course.
There are players that can do this quickly, like Richarlison, Longley, Perisic, and then other players that need a bit of time. Also, the midfielder is a specific role for us with the ball and without the ball. It's not simple. I ask for some moments, some positions. They have to be a point of the reference in every moment of the game. The midfield, for sure, to go into our idea of football is maybe the most difficult position, but we are talking about a player that has great skill, good running with the ball. He's really good defensively. He has to pay more attention. Defensively, sorry, he has to pay more attention.
Yeah.
More attention, because especially when we only have 2 midfielders and they have to be good with the ball and without the ball. But I'm really happy with this signing.
Yeah, super interesting. I love this because of the amount of detail that it's in it. I think he's basically saying to me that Basuma is good going forward, but doesn't defend well.
Yep.
And he hasn't got that in his head that how important that is for him to do it in his system, and that Basuma isn't quite there yet. He'll get there at some point, but he hasn't been managed to get there at this point. So It's a time thing. Clearly, he's being very, very patient with these players, and he wants them to get to a certain level, and they won't play until he does, until they do. And I think Basuma, and he's right in that there's a 2 there, and that if one of those 2, and we saw when Basuma played the one game he played, where he just looked off it a little bit, and defensively he wasn't quite there. So I think he's right in this with Basuma, and it's unfortunate because I think we all want to see what he's capable of. He's very good defensively. Just in the system, he needs to learn it.
He does need to learn it, and I'm very excited by his signing. I mean, he looked very, very wobbly against West Ham.
He did, yeah.
But I put that down to your Premier League debut. As in,
debut and insist not knowing.
Well, his debut is his first start. So first start. It was a hostile ground.
Yep.
He picked up a booking and then had to watch himself.
Yeah, kind of screwed himself for that, didn't he?
But he looks sloppy, and yes, it's going to take time for him to come in. I don't expect him to just go, there you go, Basuma, off you go, and 10 out of 10, and away we go. I think sometimes he may need a bit of game practice to say, right.
That's why I think this is at the end of a game, give him 20 minutes. You know?
I understand what you're saying, but again, this goes back to, and I don't really want to harp on this. When we went in the window and we started buying these players, maybe there should have been someone that was ready for now, like a Perisic that has come in and he knows Conte. This is what I expect from you.
Maybe Conte thought he was going to be that.
No, but what I'm saying, maybe you could have got another player from Inter Milan or another club that he's managed to say, right, I need that holding midfielder.
I know this guy.
Get him in. He doesn't need to. Yes, he needs to get to the fitness of the squad, but he knows what I want. He knows what I do. But he will come good. He will come good. There's absolutely no doubt with this transfer. We just hope it's faster.
Yeah, I think again, I think we're gonna have to.
I think having COVID didn't help him as well.
Yeah, that too. I think we're gonna wait to see what will happen post World Cup again with a lot of what these new players are gonna do. He's got to stick with the players he trusts to get through to that point, and then he'll start to open it up a little bit. Next question: have you considered playing with a 3 in the midfield?
Here we go.
Oh, my favorite question. I think we tried to sign a player with the characteristics to play in a 2. Then it happened during the game when sometimes we were winning to play with 3 midfielders. In the past, I played with 2 strikers and 3 midfielders. But this team, when you have players like Sonny, Richarlison, Kulusevski, and Kane, I think the best system we can play is with 2 midfielders. We need only a bit of time to work with Basuma for him to understand well. Now we have two reliable and important players in Højbjerg, who for me, he has made important progress, and now I think he's a really strong player. The same for Bentancur. Don't forget Skippy, who is really young. We're talking about a prospect for me. He's always been reliable, and for this reason, I count on him. He has to be very clear because for me, Skippy's an important player as a midfielder. Also gives me the opportunity to make rotation. For sure, in the next 12 games, he can have a better physical condition, and I can count on him. Also, Basuma, Matthew. We need all the players in the squad because we have every game is massive. For this reason, we need to have an energy. If we think we have to play with the same players, we're not going to have good results. So funny, right? Like,
so. I think that's the last question.
That's the last question. Yeah.
So let's have a look. I've regularly been saying I'd love to see a 3.
Yeah, me too. I've been talking about it since
we saw it against Liverpool last season where he did well, but when it came in this midfield, I put a tweet out obviously where I said I'd like to see Basuma and Pierre. I'd like to see it. What's it called? The partnership ended and try both of them with one of the other 2.
Yes, mix it up a bit.
And see, because we're getting over in midfield. We're missing that creativity. Maybe unlocking those 2 and putting them with one of Basuma or Skip and rotating. Maybe the answer. But right now, I'll be very happy with the 3. And then obviously that may facilitate some coming out for a rest and you go 2. So it's not like when we're firing who goes up, who you drop from the front 3. It's pretty obvious right now who you drop. And I would love to see it. I know what he's saying. Again, it falls into that category of Basuma isn't ready. Skip isn't fit. Yeah. But Basuma's fit. But hasn't got the
play him in a 3 at the top of the 3 because he doesn't need to defend that way.
This is it. But obviously
you got 2 players to protect.
Conte is so rigid with this 3-4-3.
I know
he's so rigid with it. I personally would love to in certain games, not every game. Yeah. In certain games, I think Leicester, who are very very fast moving, the pace. I think a 3 in midfield would work lovely. It's something I'd love to see. But again, Conte has spoken and. It's very well and good. We wanted to see it. We know he ain't going to do it.
Yeah, unfortunately, you could tell just by the answer to that questions. Right? He's not going to change it. He likes the front four that he has, and he wants to play three of them. And he obviously recognizes that Kane does drop deep sometimes and does play some of that ball playing midfield position that you need, but Kane's not really firing on that right now. So we're kind of missing that creativity. And I think a 3 gives that Kane less responsibility in doing that, and more of an opportunity to get into the box, and also gives a player, and it could be Basuma, it could be Bentancur. Either one of those two for me are probably the two more creative of the midfielders that we have, an opportunity to feed balls to, in between the lines, as well as having the wing backs up as well. So you've got, I think, more control of a game when you have another midfielder. And I think we're lacking that control in a lot of cases. Correct. And I'd like to see that. I'd like to see him commit to that and make a decision to try it out a couple of times with certain, like you said, with certain teams, not every game, and to be able to change so that the opposing manager hasn't prepared for the exact same thing you've done over and over again. They don't know what to do, right? Oh crap! They decided to play with 3 in the midfield. We have to adjust our tactics to what they're doing rather than the other way around. So, but really interesting one. Of course, we've had all this conversation about the rotation and the players, and of course, all of the questions that the journalists were asking are the same questions we're asking. Exactly. I'm glad that happened, because it sheds some light on it, and I say that lightly because it's also confusing. Yeah, so, it is. I think I need to lay down and have a rest after that. Some of the answers on that, but just want to say that this version of Straight Outta Conte has been sponsored by Jed Spence, because we haven't forgotten it. And let's just hope that we can get the 3 points, and what Conte speaks has rammed a rocket up their arse. I've said yesterday, I'm fed up now of saying this. Is this the kick up the arse we need? Is this the wake up? It's become the most annoying phrase I've known. But Straight Outta Conte. Listen, I'm back tomorrow on We Are Tottenham TV for us with the Late Tottenham show. I'll be off this week, unfortunately. Hello to everybody who's going to enjoy that. Brian will be with Bobby K, a special guest. I have Bobby K with us, so we'll be back at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 1 a.m. UK time, and I hope you all enjoy Straight Outta Conte. Cheers. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace. Have a good one.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.